Once again, thank you very much for being here. This means a lot, and we've all been looking forward to speaking with you and to have the authors speak to you as well and talk to you about themselves and their work, their journeys, and coastal lines, of course. And I will introduce them to you. And as I said earlier, we decided this time to freestyle it. And the authors wanted this to be kind of a casual conversation and are hoping to hear from you as well. And you've had the chance to kind of sit with the zines and touch the zines and really feel the words, and we would love to hear from you, and they would love to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so first of all, we have Ahmed Al Khawaja. Hi, Ahmed.
Hi.
Hi. So Ahmed is a writer from Gaza City exploring Palestinian fiction, ecology, and collective memory through indigenous archives and storytelling. He has also co-published experimental fiction and is currently completing a short story collection named Lives on the Shore. So this is a very short bio, Ahmed. Ahmed actually has a very long list of projects that he's working on. I don't know why you said so little, but maybe you can tell us more about that. Taqwa Ahmed Al-Wawi is a Palestinian writer, poet, and editor based in Gaza, born in 2006. She studies English language and literature at the Islamic University of Gaza. As a dedicated chronicler and custodian of her people's memory, she amplifies Gaza's voice, illuminating stories that are often overlooked or silenced. Her work has been featured in more than 30 leading international platforms and prestigious publications, including The Guardian, Al Jazeera English, The Intercept, The Nation, Literary Hub, Truth Out, and Middle East Eye, and many, many, many more. And she currently serves as an editor at Beledi magazine. Hi, Taqwa.
Hi, everyone. It's lovely to see you all.
And finally, we have Shahad Al-Naami, who's a Palestinian writer, translator, and workshop facilitator from Gaza. She studies English literature and translation at the Islamic University of Gaza. She is the author of the writings of Shahad Al-Naami and However Fragile, which you will see on the table. Her work has been published by Al Jazeera, We Are Not Numbers, the Electronic Intifada, and other international platforms. She also works with the AWIB as an Arabic English translator. Alongside her writing and translation work, she facilitates workshops exploring a variety of themes connected to storytelling, reflection, memory, and community. Shahad actually runs workshops online very often, so I encourage you to follow her and follow the others as well, and stay up to date with their work and everything that they're offering, and you won't regret it. So, welcome you, and please, guys, take it away. Ahmed, you wanted to start, so the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Layla. Thank you for the audience. You look very lovely. So we were discussing initially having like a panel discussion and so on, being so serious, like writer kind of style. But we have eventually decided on we're not going to do that. So we're going with a conversation style, open. We don't have scripts. I have nagged them not to have any scripts or almost any preparation like how we did it in before. So we can have a more friend-to-friend discussions, dialogues, or conversations in general. So I would say there is no wrong ideas and there is no barrier, I guess, to talk to us. Go free. Free bird fly, basically. And there's like, you would never offend or be offensive or anything. Like literally, just you do you, it's fine. Don't worry at all. We want to discuss many things, but we would like to start, or I would like to start with inviting you to promote and join Coastal Line Press if you have the time. Arwa, I'm not sure. Is Arwa in the room?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Arwa. You have exposed our plan to steal your members, but I'm inviting everyone to join Coastal Line Press in however they can. And if they know some people who would like to join Coastal Line Press, please let them know. I'm sorry, Arwa. Please don't taunt me. So there's one question that Laila has actually presented a couple of Fridays ago, which we would like to talk about here. So one of the things that we were talked about in previous calls, we do have Friday calls that we describe as the kitchen of Coastal Press, in which we discuss almost everything. And so we go around the world. We talk about Gaza, we talk about Palestine, we talk about Europe, we talk about everything. And one of the things that we asked or talked lately when I was presented the opportunity to discuss or have a event with you guys was, or before presenting that idea, one of the things that we see in Bibliobox is, and Coastal Line Press at the same time, is these spaces and how they are being a third place for the community to grow, especially for the Palestine solidarity and for the communities of other that are facing other struggles. So there is this idea that I'm presenting in how Coastal Line Press is presenting itself or pioneering the space with being the digital first third place, and how Bibliobox is this also third place, but also in the physical world, and how Coastal Line Press is in the digital world. So there is these two aspects that we are looking to, and how they differ and how they complement each other at the same time, without sounding too much like a professor kind of thing, to just have the question more directly, in which we also would love to hear your thoughts, your opinions. Again, there is no wrong answers, there's only your answer. So we were thinking about Laila's question in how can these spaces. So the question is, how can Coastal Line Press and Bibliobox, in being these spaces for the communities to gather and talk to each other, how can they become places of, if we can say, that fight the gatekeepers and promote mass education about Palestine, about other struggles, about politics, about everything that is related to these kind of questions, and also in these spaces being third spaces that people gather in, and then them being a sanctuary, how these spaces would also be the same spaces that are fighting the rise of the manosphere, for example. How would they fight or resist the rise of the far right and the hate crimes that is happening? How they are trying to talk to the young who are also at the same time being vulnerable to the right wing, whether it's AFD and whatever in Germany and in other places of Europe that is really taking place, because they are offering something that I think we should also start to ask that the young generation and all of the generations, but I think the young generation is also has a place in this question. How can we talk to them? And what would you think is, from your own experiences, what would you like to see as a program or an implementation, something in practice that we can work on between you and Coastal Line Press? So we're having this question. It's multifaceted, and there is no right answer, and there is no single answer. So we would love to have all of your inputs and have this conversation today. And if it's needed, we can have multiple events, I guess, or talks in which we can maybe also on Google Meets like this one in your room, we can meet and talk about developing the ideas. So yeah, these are the things that we want to hear your thoughts on.
Is that all?
Yes, but no, there is far more, but I want to stop here.
I'm interested in the concept of third spaces that we have been using. Like, my own background is global citizenship education, where we come from Polish Rime, and maybe some of those books. But I'm not familiar with the concept of third spaces, but it seems to have to do with, with similar ideas. So maybe you could elaborate a bit on that?
Third places are a concept presented by, I think it's an American sociologist. He's a misogynist, a bit of a trash of a person, but his idea is that there is communities have two places or three places. So the first place is your home, the second place is your place of work, and the third space or the third place is either the pub or the cafes or any places that have community gathering in which conversations do take place and people talk. Libraries can fit into that, but not so much because people are silent. It can take place in libraries if they have a dedicated space in which people can yap for hours. Yes, it can apply, but if it's just like a university library where everyone is punished for talking, then it doesn't so much apply. But it's the main idea is for people to gather. That's it.
But it's more than this, no? Like in Vienna, we have this long tradition of coffee places where
Yes, I have read about it. So these places
also
actually apply.
the part is that there is no forced consumption, that you're not forced to spend money
it's
there.
about consumption. Is it?
Yeah,
I
because cafe you can just go and not spend any money. Or I mean, if you're invited, sure, but like every time.
I mean, I would say it is still a third place if the consumption is expected, but it can't be the only type of third place. I think. Third space.
So the third places are about education, about.
It's about community. I would say it's about like. Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's quite broad term. Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I'm not an expert, so.
I think third places are like squares or places also outside where people can gather spontaneously, like in the neighborhood or so, like just in southern European culture in general, people just go out in the street, go out to the square. They sit there, they make friends like spontaneously, so you don't have to buy anything or you don't have to do any specific activity except like just living and being there. It can be also just playing cards. You think your cards and you play. So I think libraries could kind of fit like what we're doing now today. It's a kind of a third space.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think in Vienna parks are much more of a third space than cafes because cafes are increasingly commercial, and like especially in a good location, you cannot go to cafe without spending 10 euros.
Yeah. So access is limited.
Okay, so the place that you were actually sitting in does qualify in being a third place. Third places actually have a struggle right now in being, oh, you have to buy something to get in this place. You have to. So in the past, it was almost free-ish kind of thing. And today, everything is going towards extreme neoliberal capitalism monster. And you have to subscribe and buy and have an email for everything, even for water. These places that are like Bibliobox or Coastal Press are offering something that is fighting at the first place these kind of things, or these kind of practices. And that's what is the center of the question. How can these places, how can we grow them, and how can we employ them in attracting people who are trying to connect with others, either within the solidarity movement, who are facing burnouts, losing hope. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. For some people say like, fuck it, I'm too tired of this. So how can these places become sanctuary and places to just yap for hours about problems that we are facing? And how can they become, from just us gathering and talking, to actually become a place where we recharge and launch new ideas? What are your thoughts, your suggestions?
I think like part of that might come to like collective responsibility for a space, like feeling like we all have a role to play within a space and not just one person like leading it, or like not. I don't know, that's wrong, but I feel like this can be not this. I just mean that feeling like you have something that you have to bring to the table, and you can't just have someone else do everything else for you in these spaces, you know? Like you're not just coming here for someone else to take care of you, which is part of the consumption of other, like cafes and stuff. It's like, I'm coming here so when someone can feed me, someone can, give me something to drink, and then I'm gonna sit with my friend. And it's more of like a home outside of a home that you can meet up with other people without it being so individual, but like
Yeah, just a shared.
Yeah,
Exactly.
in Berlin, actually, where we had our very first panel discussion. There's a bar called Casino, and it's completely volunteer run. I wasn't aware of this until we actually had the event, and they explained to me how it works. And everyone who's there is a volunteer, and so people can pitch in however they can, and whatever money you spend, you know that you're spending to keep this place going and to ensure that the community has a safe space to meet up and to a place where you can host talks like this and so many other things. There's always something going on there, lots of fundraising and community care, and it really does feel like a great example of a third space that was created by the people out of necessity. And with Coastal Lines, we've also very much experienced this. When we gather together, it's it feels very natural and it feels like home. No matter where we are, we're gathered around a table. Everyone brings something to nibble on. There's food. There's something to drink. We chat about solidarity and zines and all of that, but we also chat about other things. And it feels like the right environment to be able to talk about the things that you need to talk about safely. And this is where we come up with so many different ideas, and we strengthen our connections, and this is very important. And one more thing I want to say, I don't want to hijack the conversation, but yesterday Bridget and I were talking on the train about the importance of thinking locally. And it's very easy to look at the problem as this gargantuan thing to tackle, which it is, but no individual can do it on their own. And it's easy to fall into that, the despair of seeing your little self compared to this massive beast that needs to be stopped. And we think, how do I fight this? How do I change the world? And instead of thinking that way, it's important to remember the importance of localizing the intifada. We called it yesterday. So yeah, how do we localize the intifada? How do we, you start with your racist uncle at dinner, talk to your colleagues at work, like all of these conversations. This is so important. And I think this is how we begin to build more of these spaces and work towards normalizing this, speaking openly about struggle and resistance and justice and all the things that matter very much.
Yeah, I think I wanted
Go ahead,
to emphasize on the idea that is the importance of spreading the world to your connections and how much it really affects everything, even though you might think that this is a very, very, like, it doesn't matter, or it doesn't, or it will not free Palestine, but the small things that you are doing, it really matters. It really spreading the awareness that people really need to think about the ideas, what is happening, the whole world and what is going here and there. So it's really a very important things to do and to try to spread. But I also was thinking if we can bring these two third places together, the one that is digital, Coastal Lines Press, and the one that is physical, Bibliobox, what we can actually build between them, what we can really do to connect these places together and to change something at least.
So I just moved to Vienna like 2 years ago, and before that I lived my entire life in Amman and Jordan. And I think I had a group of people who we had this, I cannot even call it a third place. I feel like it's like a cosmic thing that we had. Of course, we had like a group of witches, and this is how we created the space. And literally, like, our idea was to create a school that is the exact opposite of every schooling system that exists, which is like if a school exists in a room, we are throwing ourselves into nowhere. So you literally, if you find us in the middle of the woods or the desert, you will find a group of witches doing like heebie-jeebies. And yeah, literally, and we would teach each other. But we got, I think it was, you mentioned a necessity, like a person gets to a point where they need such a space, they create such a space, and they commit to it. I think after I moved to Vienna, it's one of the things that I had on my top list is to create such a space here or be a part of it. But I think people in Vienna are more individualistic in their mindsets. That even if someone tries, I have a friend who tried to make like a crafts in their place, like a craft zone, and people would say, like, we would have like 10 people say, oh, I will come, oh, I need this, oh, for sure I will be there, and then they would cancel all last second, and it would be just me and her. And by like we tried like 3 times, I think, or 4 times, and then they gave up on the idea. And I think it really is a shame. I think in Jordan, it's of course like if you want to do it, if you want to create more spaces, you have to dismantle capitalism, basically. I think that people really understand how much these places are important, especially it is the resistance. Like, of course, a capitalist system doesn't want these spaces to exist, because when they exist, you have people, people will try to take down the system.
It sparks solidarity.
Yeah.
And also the realization, sorry, I would like, because I would also like to, I don't know if corroborate is the right word for it. Like, you mean, basically I confirm what you were saying, yeah. Because I've lived in Vienna my whole life, and I come from a mostly liberal, partly a right-wing background, but not myself, but my family, my social circle, basically. And I really get the sense that people feel like currently they feel no need for these dark spaces. They feel like they can be perfectly content with their own little lives, with their own little social circles, and they feel like it doesn't matter actually. And I think it kind of does, because like if you keep people so atomized, then it's easier to control people and to put them under dire circumstances and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, what you were saying is quite correct, that it needs to be like people need to be made aware that these third spaces are actually important and do serve a really good purpose actually.
The word
Maybe
is,
if you don't have
I found the word. The word is desperation.
Aha!
I swear to you, my English is not that bad.
But what about you cannot miss anything that you don't know that exists, and actually these spaces exist, and I'm part of them. So I'll take it. There is clear spaces in me, and that's me.
I would love to see, but like that's basically what we're talking about. No? Like, how do you nurture those spaces or not?
I think I can agree on what you said earlier. Like they're not needed. Like people are really content with what they have in life. They can go groceries. Yeah, but I think what they need from a capitalistic point of view, you need to have an income, you need to have a house, you need to have a nice car, and that's all you need. It's not about mental health, and not about how happy are you truly. And I think if you just think inside that bubble where the only thing you need is things that you can buy with money, you don't feel the need to have that. And as someone who comes from like third world country, let's say it like that, I'm from Egypt. We have that we're desperate for it. Like we don't have the money, we don't have any, or people mostly don't have that, so they have the need for third spaces, because that's the place where they vent about their issues and their problems, and we don't need that here. If you have a nice house, you have a nice car, you can have really nice and clean water. As of right now, you're not really suffering from poverty or like any dire circumstances. so you don't have a desperate need for it, and or at least the people believe that. And I think as long as people believe that everything's okay, and that's what they are made to believe, that everything that happens around the world does not have any effect on us living here or living in Europe in general, they won't have that need for that. And since you were talking about Italy, it's a different kind of society. They're also a little bit more desperate, I would say. Social issues and social problems. And
But you see them in the problems.
exactly,
Like,
but
because here are
yeah,
so
because-
watered down.
yeah,
Because people are not desperate enough. They don't want to protest enough.
yeah, because they have good lives. What to protest for?
I mean, good
Like,
for them.
Challenge a few of the people here having a good life. Maybe it's I'm almost 50.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a question of age. The people around me that I see in the outskirts of the Vienna work, everyone has their own house and their own house, and people now get midlife crisis. And the men start their running and training, and the women go to yoga classes, and it's like, and then they all go to therapy. So they're desperate, and at therapy they buy what they're actually missing, which is someone listening to them, which you could have had for free in the church basis. So it's this way of filling that need is also capitalistic, and it's individualizing.
Everything is a service.
Yeah, and it is individualizing the problem.
And it's a service for a CEO, not to your brother or sister, which is insane.
Yeah, but they feel like I would say that these people like feel that everything should be a service and it should be for them. I think it ties into what you were saying earlier about how in these third spaces it's also about responsibility and commitment and not just about being served all the time. And I feel like this sparks a bit of solidarity, because from my experience, for example, like I used to be very reclusive and like not really tied to any third spaces or communities or whatever, and I still struggle with that a little bit, but I feel like I'm getting there, and I feel like I get more of a sense of responsibility through that and it is something fulfilling. Like it's not just a burden or anything. It's actually nice to feel like, okay, I actually care about this. I actually want to take part.
but I would like to add a short story that we live in like, if you work 40 hours, if you work full time, which is something that does not happen. Like I have friends in Egypt, when I go to visit, we still have time. They still have find time for that. I don't have that here. I don't have the same energy. Like when I'm done with work, I love my friends. I love, like, there's this Habibi circle that Bibliobox also does, and I love going there, but I have to bring myself up to, okay, I have to motivate myself because I don't have the energy, because in work, you work, and then you have the need for it, but you don't have the energy, you don't have the time for it. And I think it's all tied to like living in a capitalistic society where everyone is an individual and you work for yourself, you don't work for anyone else. You do all of this just to like gather and gather and gather more and more resources so you can fulfill, hopefully one day you can say about yourself, I'm happy. So that's the main goal.
But it's not happening.
No.
Because
It's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
there's always a neighbor that has more.
Yeah.
And I mean, coming visit.
And there's also
It's really
always
awful.
a new car and a better phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new grill and the new, I don't know what.
And the new bike.
Very expensive bikes actually.
Ahmed,
Yeah,
Ahmed has
I love all of what you have said, but there is this strangeness that I'm seeing. Let's take, for example, like on Instagram, you would see some, I wouldn't love to have this label, but Europeans going to Arab countries and experiencing this immersion or being fully adopted in Arab cultures, like from day one. Yo, Habibi, you're my brother now, and you're going to eat this feast all along with others, and so on. So they get to experience some of this, let's say, Arab community generosity slash. So they get to experience what they of what I would say the opposite of how the European societies are structured. But then they go home
Out of generosity, you mean?
and when they go home, they see they don't, it's as if they were able to just get rid from all of that at the airport and get back to Vienna, get back to Germany, as if nothing has happened, as if they were not, as if they have never. It does feel like a family. Even big families tend to have or maintain this structure because they know this is better. And this is even linked to capitalism and the hoarding of resources and money. When, let's say, I have a kid, but I do have a very hard-working job that consumes my time, wouldn't it be easier to have a friend who's able to have an extra child for 2 days because they have a child too for free, without actually having to pay, or find someone that you can trust with your kid, for example, or your cat, and trust them because you know them, because it's a community. So isn't that actually negating their idea of, yeah, I need more money so I can have more things? But actually, community can get you those things at a very lower price. So that's the thing. How do you know anyone like did travel and have this strange strange experience, like, oh, you went to an Arab country and experienced it and like came back and like nothing has changed in you? What do you think is the cause? Is it like societies resisting coming together, or is it infrastructure? Because I know about hostile architecture, but you cannot prevent two people from actually talking unless they don't want to talk. So is it that? Is it like they feel like it's not a very, or like it's the other, so we keep it outside, they are not like us, we are civilized, we don't do that? Is it that, or what else do you feel like it is?
And you know what? I feel that this is really connected to something I always try to ask myself and remind people to think about it. Why are you really doing these things? Why are you attending this place, joining us today, coming to this place, gathering in this circle, listening to us, having this chat? Why am I writing? Why am I doing all of these things? Why am I resisting in my own way? Why am I doing all of these things? And the answer is the thing that will lead me to the right way and the space and the energy to continue the things that I need to do. So this is maybe something to always think about. Why are you doing all of these things? Just to have this thought. And why? Always why.
Also, to build on what Ahmed and Jad said, I've been thinking a lot recently about one question. How do we keep Palestine present in the world? I will leave the floor for you to answer, but let me explain the present, what I mean. So present here, I don't mean present only through headlines, numbers, or moments when violence becomes impossible to ignore. No, I mean present in a human way, present through memory, writing, conversation like this, also relationships and daily life. So when I said presence, this is what I mean. And basically, one of the hardest things about what has happened and is still happening in Gaza is watching how quickly the world adapts to catastrophe. At first, people pay attention constantly. They follow every update, every image, every testimony. Then, slowly, tiring appears, people move on, the violence continues, attention disappears, and I think this creates another kind of violence, the violence of becoming distant, violence of becoming ordinary, or what I used to call it normalizing everything, what is happening here. So that's why I think spaces like this important. That this is why writing matters. So basically, these spaces allow us to, or allow people to encounter Palestine as lived life, lived memory, and lived experience. So the floor is you. How do we keep Palestine present in the world?
Hi, we were on a call last week. I think that's a question that I've asked myself so many times. I've been in political activism for around 8 years, and the organization that I'm organized with, we've been trying to talk about Palestine. I don't know for how many years already, but specifically starting with 7th of October, it was kind of the duty for us to get out on the streets and tell people that this is a genocide. And from the very second, people started to spit into our faces, to I don't know whatever kind of things happened here in Vienna, and this kind of made us think that the more we ask for solidarity, the more we ask for Palestine not to be forgotten, the more third spaces, the one we were talking about and are talking about right now, are actually building and growing at the same time. In the last 2.5 years, 3 years, I got to know Charles, like the one who was talking about Italy earlier, just by the fact of, meeting this person at a random demonstration, for example, in solidarity with Palestine, in solidarity with the people of Iran, of Lebanon, and so on. And this is like, of course, this is a not really kind of struggle, quote unquote, because we're just trying to stand in solidarity and have no idea of how big the atrocities are that we only see in the media, that we only, are actually hold of us because we are being held of us because we don't really see them anywhere. But we try to organize as much as possible. And I think as much you have to keep talk, at least here in the spaces that are basically white spaces. I think it's a bare minimum. It's the biggest bare minimum to do, to keep talking about Palestine, to keep actually kind of force other people to get into the conversation. Maybe this is too militant. I guess that's a yes from, like, I just gave that answer to myself now. But there's no, like, for me personally, there's no way to not do it. And I think I really want to thank you to, first of all, allow us to have the space. To secondly, actually kind of, I think we're making this conversation about us. And I really don't want to have that, because it's a huge honor to have you on the call, to even be able to talk to you. So let me thank you for that. I haven't read your zines yet, but I'm really, really happy and stoked to have the pleasure to get to sell them in the next few weeks here in Vienna, and to get to read them too. And I don't know if there's any way to stay in touch, if there's any way for us to support, we do that. Free Palestine. Sorry, that was my moment.
Thanks a million for sharing this. It's lovely to hear all of these
Thank
ideas.
you. This event that we're doing now is actually us recognizing that, okay, going on events, talking about either the zines or Palestine and so on is nice, but there is also a need to connect between those who are in Palestine and those who are outside of Palestine, and between those, the authors, and are distributing the zines, because there is a space for us to have a conversation about everything, about what is working, what is not working, what they see from their experiences, what is needed, what is effective, what needs to be built. That's what we are trying here to do, to hear your own thoughts, your experiences, and build on them and from them. Because as much as it might seem as it's not helpful, or it's not about me, I don't want it to be about me, we hear you. That's one of the things that we want to assure you, that it's not happening. Like, don't worry at all. It's about Palestine at the center. We are not even centering ourselves. It's about Palestine because Palestine is linked to everyone else, and we are also linking it to Lebanon, to Iran, to all the other indigenous and people who are struggling, unfortunately, also who might face struggles. For example, Venezuela, we started the year with new with new kind of pain, and you just never know who's the next victim. What we learn here, we do want to apply for everywhere, because we do also have friends and networks with people who are not Europeans and are subjugated to other forms of oppression or are facing some other pains. And we would love to share what we have and them sharing what they have, and building this network that is, I don't want to sound like I'm going to start the next Soviet Union, but connecting all of us struggling with all of this nonsense that is happening with the world right now, because that's what they want us not to do. They don't want unions at work. They don't want third places. They don't want you to talk to your neighbor. They don't want you to talk about the privacy violations that the state is going to have within your phone. They're going to monitor how many times you poop, how many times you go in the use of the car, how many times do you visit the school, how many times you talk to your child. Everything is going towards atomization. And I think it's only, I'm going to sound a bit insane, but I think it's a human duty and a human right to fight what is going on right now, because it's only to the benefit, not to the benefit of, let's protect the children. It's never about the children. It's never about the women. It's never about the people who are oppressed. It's about money. It's about money. Follow the money. And it's always about some people, some guy, it's usually a man, trying to get even more filthy rich, even though if he tries to spend that money, he will never be able. So let's hold hands. That's what we are asking. Let's hold hands with everyone and share and talk what the heck is going on and how we can fight this together. What you know and what we know, and build something that, let's build together. So how can we do it? What are your suggestions for what do we lack? What do we have, we don't have, and would love to give in your community? We did talk about having this pile or mass education, or maybe workshops, or sharing resources, or having maybe like a website that has all of the things that we find, or something. So we're keeping ideas flowing, and we're hearing everything right now. So this is one of the main questions that we have: how we can teach everyone and give them access to knowledge, legally or illegally, allegedly. So there is a space for everything.
I just want to say, because at some point we have to wrap up, right? You have to get to the but I want to say that it's very easy to find our authors online, and they're very open. They want to hear from you always. And we meet every week. We've been meeting every week for well over a year now. And this is where a lot of ideas really come up. We just sit down, you called it the kitchen table, right? We sit around the digital kitchen table, and we just talk. And every Friday takes us in a different direction, and a lot comes up while we're chatting. And if anyone ever wished to do this, if we wanted to even get together digitally, which is easy to do, I invite you to connect with the authors and share your ideas and meet and chat and see what happens, right?
Yeah, it's like we are super approachable. You can, it's like, hi, the coldest message you can ever send. Like, hi, I would like to talk. We can go on forever. So there is no, like, the barrier that you were thinking of, it doesn't exist, like, literally. And we would love to have you on the Friday calls, even as a listener. If you think that you don't have ideas, you do, but you secretly are hiding them, or they haven't yet popped up. Yeah, Arwa, I'm sorry, I'm going to present them with the idea to lure them into Coastal Line Press. So we do offer very flexible volunteering method, volunteering with whatever you can and however you can. I'm sorry, Arwa. I'm sorry, but I need to get them. If you have the time, you can also ask Layla how to take the bait and join in. We would love to have you for we literally pour everything into this pot, and we have cool ideas and events, projects that we have some insane projects. Like, trust me, there are.
Maybe you guys can leave us with some final thoughts or wishes or things to mull over when the call is over. And I would love also to give everyone time to look through the zines and buy zines and take them home and share them and read them.
Yeah, I need to just remind you to never lose ever the light that you have in your heart, because I believe that there is so much kindness and light, and this is proven by your gathering today. Just always remember that you're valued, your thoughts are really matter, your actions are really changing the reality. And I would love to conclude with just remember why are you doing these things. And thank you. It was so lovely to see you and to hear your thoughts and all the beautiful things that you have shared. And I wish that we could meet virtually or one day in person, inshallah.
Thank you, Shahid.
For me, it's going to be I love you and very massive and big hug from across the fake borders. Yeah, that's it. Never lose hope, huh? Even if it sounds easy to just stay in bed and doom scroll. No, we are here. We yap. If you want, you can join, and we would love to hear you. We have a lot to talk. So never lose hope, because that's what they want, and don't give them that. They can rot. Don't give them that.
Yes. Thank you.
Ahmed and Shahid, they didn't left anything for me to say. But please continue to spread the words, and we appreciate all the effort you do, and it's lovely to hear all of you, and thank you for this opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is so lovely. This is so lovely. Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful space.
Thank you all so much. I missed you today, by the way. I'm very sorry I couldn't make today's meeting. It was for a good cause, though. I missed it for I hope you had a good meeting, and I look forward to hearing what?
We missed you in the meeting today.
We were counting the zines. We were counting zines. Yeah, I sent lots of pictures.
It's so hard.
Thank you so much. Thank you always for everything that you're doing and for. Go ahead, Shad.
It's so hard to say goodbye, so I will say see you later.
Shahid.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.
Yeah, see you.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Love you.
Lovely. See you later.
Bye.